The third song I'm releasing is titled Ice Cream. Like many of my songs, it was written in South Korea when I first moved to this city called Suwon. Suwon has a headquarter of Samsung company, and I actually worked for Samsung company for almost 10 years as a cultural consultant slash business English instructor. Even ended up going to a court because I was illegally meeting one of the vice presidents of a very high level, department of Samsung. It was an interesting job. I learned so much about myself, about the world, about business for sure, and I met some amazing and interesting people. I spent about 4 5 years living in Suwon, and when I first moved into a small apartment that was provided to me by my academy or school at that time, my first neighbor was a girl from Mount Pearl or St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. And to each other's shock and disbelief, we could not believe that, first of all, she is from Newfoundland or that I am from Newfoundland, because when I would go to a Canadian in Korea and say, I'm Canadian, I'm from Newfoundland, and they would look at me with this amazing accent. You're not Canadian. Um, but I said, I am, I'm an adopted Newfoundlander. I moved to Canada when I was 21, you know, finished university, and once I finished my university here, I became Canadian, of course. Uh, this girl and I, of course, became friends because we worked for the same school and, came from the same background. Of course, she was a little bit younger than me, which didn't really make a big problem in our friendship. But of course, being a man that I am, I started developing feelings towards her. And everything would have been okay if I was cool about it, if I was just nonchalant, and just play it off as, as as I would say, maybe a sexual encounter rather than a love encounter, because it could have progressed into something. But because I just started developing these deep feelings immediately, it kind of scared her because uh, the way we see love or we perceive relationship is has to be kind of nonchalant. You kind of start dating someone and you pretend you don't care about each other, until you get to a certain point, and then you can say to one another, "Oh, I really love you and I can't live without you." But I was always skipping these, important steps and immediately jumping into like, "Wow, I love you, you are amazing." I think that that need, came to me because I left my home when I was 15 years old. I've lived on my own for such a long time, and no family, no really friends, or no love interests. I always, try to find somebody just to love me. I just wanted to be loved, and I wanted to love somebody, to belong somewhere, or something like that. And of course, that came across as being needy. Nobody really likes that. Nevertheless, two of us had a really interesting relationship, and she really liked me too, and I liked her as well. She also wanted to learn to play the guitar, and at that time I was performing with a really cool band in Seoul City. Every Friday night we played at this amazing club called B1. It was in the basement of one of the very, very cool places in Seoul. So we used to go out together, to these shows and whatnot. And she wanted to learn the guitar. And now I'm going to give away who this person is, but that's okay. Um, she really wanted to learn a song by Sarah McLachlan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's a Canadian female Canadian singer songwriter, and the title of the song is Ice Cream too. So I learned that song so I could teach it to her because I really wanted to spend time with her. And it was such a difficult experience because when you like somebody and you're trying to teach them to play the guitar and spend time with them, and it's so difficult. I gotta say, I was so dorky. I've always been really dorky and nerdy in relationships. I'm just learning now the value of myself, and it's taking me such a long time. But be yourself no matter what they say, because those that are truly meant to be in your life will accept you for who you are. You can't really be anything but yourself, right? Um, so nothing really happened out of our love. We stayed friends. At some point, I got a different job at a different place, and she moved back to Canada. She's now happily married, lives in Montreal with her husband. They have two children. I actually saw her once or twice here in town, picking up her kids after a hockey practice or something like that. And we hugged each other, said hello. Of course, I don't think she ever really got over that weirdness. Um, but what can I do? I really didn't know better at that time. Nevertheless, I stayed behind in Korea and continued my musical career until I got married, and then after I got married, I completely stopped, my music really because family and rock and roll is kind of difficult to put on the same stove. My father did the same thing with football. He used to be a fanatic. He used to go to every soccer game, and he was a member of one of the local soccer teams, and he was in their headquarters, so he would go with them. And at some point, my mother said, soccer or family, and he had to choose. And the same thing happened to me. It was rock and roll or family, and of course I chose family. It's a family curse, honestly. And I think it speaks about choosing partners that do not support your mission, your goal in life. And it's very important to understand that we each have a purpose in this life. We have a reason why we are here. It's something that speaks to you. I mean, for me personally, when I go to bed every night, I dream about music. Every morning, I dream about music. Music is a very important part of my life. That's how I communicate with myself and with the world around me. And if I had to, choose between music and love, it would be a very difficult choice because of course, when you love somebody, especially if you have family with that person, oh my goodness, you're going to try to choose, the right thing, but it's always going to be torturing you, which is why, the second song that I released was Choices, and it speaks about that desire, to find the middle way, the halfway, the bridge between the two. And my whole life I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to find the bridge between Islam and rock and roll too. Because rock and roll is all about sex, drugs and music, and Islam is all about something different. So it's a struggle. It's been a struggle, and plus I've always struggled with my dorkiness, with lack of emotional support, I would say, to become a prophet, to become a rebel that I am, I had to leave my home so early because I really did not fit into my reality back home in Bosnia and Herzegovina, where I was supposed to be a good little Muslim, go to school, go to mosque, do the right thing, or be a good little communist. And I wanted to be so much more. So I ended up working for a Samsung company in South Korea and playing rock and roll and teaching this Canadian girl how to play a song Ice Cream. Out of that failed relationship, because I not only that I didn't get a girl, I also lost a friend, and that hurts too because I really think highly of this person, and she's an awesome person. I really enjoyed her friendship as well. I wrote this song, and the song speaks about that. It's asking somebody to love you like they never have before, and love is sacrifice. It really is on both sides. I've sacrificed, like I said, rock and roll for my life. My father sacrificed soccer, for his family, and it shouldn't really be like that in a perfect world. But nothing is perfect. Later on, after I wrote this song and I started realizing the sexual connotations of the song Ice Cream, both in Sarah's song and my song, and people would sometimes joke with me because, in one of the first lines I say, "Your love is like an ice cream cold, melting slowly in my soul." And most of the friends would misheard the lyrics and say that your love is like an ice cream cone. So they used to joke with me about being kind of a homosexual, gay anthem. um, and perhaps it was, or perhaps it is. It speaks about so many different things. uh, in the video that I am preparing for this song, it's exactly about that. It speaks about love between, or lust between two men, which is what Ice Cream is all about, really. But it's more than that. It speaks about sex work. I spoke about this topic, on my channel Newfound Bosnian, and I will probably link some of the videos, later on, when we are ready to go public with all this, to the video here. The need to legalize and to decriminalize sex work in a way that is meaningful to all of us is there. In the city where I live, it's rampant, it's everywhere, but it's not legalized in a way that it helps people. So most of sex workers, they work on the street, which is why again I'm making my video in such way that I'm providing that service directly from the street. The sex workers are forced to basically, stand on the street and just wait for their customers to come to them. I don't think that's the proper way to do that because there is really no way to protect both the workers and the customers. The problem is this is all illegal, and I remember while living in South Korea, where, for example, prostitution is illegal. We had red light districts, just like they have them in Amsterdam, Holland, with thousands of young women sitting in the windows and accepting customers, both Korean and foreign. And again, it's supposed to be illegal. We had dozens of different ways to contact, sex workers to come to our home, to do whatever needs to be done, because the desire for sex, the lust, is not going to go away. This is something that is kind of embedded into our psyche. This is why the religion is very important, because those of us that are religious, that are more turned to our spirituality or God, we tend to be able to suppress our physical desires. But three beers later, everything goes out the window. So that is never going to go away. The only way to deal with it is to actually legalize it and to make it as an healthy option, as an option that can provide safety. That's the key word, I think, to that particular issue. So this song also speaks about that as well. In my videos that I am releasing alongside the songs, the story follows the man or a person, it could be a woman, who is leaving home. And once you're forced to leave your home and the family, you have these choices to make whether you want to bring something or not with you. And then when you're out there on your own, what is it that you do? What do you do with your freedom? A lot of people don't know what to do with their freedom because they are not in touch with their purpose, with their reason of existence. So they end up drinking, doing drugs, or turning to sex as a way to release their anger. A lot of us substitute sex for love. We do the same thing with food. And again, these are the topics that really we don't talk about and nobody really wants to talk about. But as a father, as a teacher, as somebody who is raising two young teenagers, these are the topics that are going to be very important both to me and to my children. We live downtown St. John's, and infamous Longs Hill Street is about 200-300 meters from us. And every day when I go to work, every day when my kids go to school, they see the sex workers, they see the drug dealers, and that's completely normal to them. They are fully aware of what this is about. But what we don't see is the help. What we don't see is the protection for these groups. And they provide an essential service to the city. Because the third reason for this song came from my experience in Bosnia and Herzegovina. What happens is that when our basic needs are not met, and to a lot of us, our basic needs are just food and shelter, but then it's love and sex as well. People struggle with that. What we experienced, for example, during the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina was something that was just horrible. I witnessed rape that was used as a weapon of the war. We had about 50,000 women that were raped in 4 years, but there was also 10,000 men. They were raped by other men who are not homosexual, apparently. And raped in such a way that it was ridiculous. Slavoj Žižek is a very famous philosopher from the Balkans, and he said that the difference between the Balkan and the Western world is that in the Western world you have rape, you have these gang rapes that are on TV, on like porn hubs, and where women enjoy them. And in the Balkans you also have rapes, but women don't enjoy them, nor do men. It's amazing to me how something that is so difficult, something that is so horrible as rape is not addressed properly. And because we cannot suppress these feelings, in the first song I wrote about the men without honor, these are the men who have done these things. They made these choices to commit these atrocities. So I always think to myself, maybe there is a way to stop this. Maybe there is a way we can legalize sex work and have everyone come out and enjoy their straight or homosexual or lesbian sex safely and securely. Song Ice Cream is about these issues. It's a very heavy song, it's a very dear song to my heart. It speaks about the need to love like you never have before. Have no fear and have an open heart and an open mind. We are all the same and we are all in this together. I love you all and I will see you in the next video.